Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another battle report. This is another Skirmish campaigns game. My my Holy Orders, my Inquisitors, versus Dwarven Holds and Highborn Elves. This is my warband, led by Gilia Gonzalez, the Inquisitor. She has scaled sheer surface, so she can climb during marches. When marching, and she doesn't have to take a agility test, and she's nimble, so she can shoot after marching. We have no Agnello, an order initiate. He's fairly tanky, resilience 4 and strength 4. My prelate with a new prayer, Flash of Resolve, that gives you extra agility, and if you're dazed or knocked down, it gives you a lot of bonuses like a special save, dodge 4 up, and lightning reflexes, and you stand up. And we have Mariano de la Pena, my crossbowman, another order initiate, and he can fire 2 shots with his crossbow. We have 2 flaglands with flails, and 3 attacks each with strength 4, and another flagland brand new with a Morningstar and buckler. I have my 2 dogs, the Maiden and Ulor, and we have my Veil Serpent, the Hireling. The dwarves, same as before. We have the Dragon Seeker, he's nasty. Grandpa with the Great Weapon, a Hero Seeker. A brand new Youngling with the Great Weapon. The Ogre Bodyguard Hireling, who defends the Daughter with buckler and axe. Pirate Pete with his pistol. A henchman become hero with 2 axes, I think, and 2 henchmen with 2 axes. They usually have the Whirling Chains of Doom, but they opted out of that this time. And we have 3 boars, Snow White, Cinderella, and Aurora. Maybe I get those 2 names wrong, but the dark one is Snow White. And we have the elves. We have the captain, Master of the Candric Tower with Healing Waters and Awaken the Beast. A youngling elf with throwing weapons and strength 4. 2 elder soldiers with great swords, great weapons, and lightning reflexes both. One of them has armor, the other does not. A citizen soldier with halberd who's become a hero. He has 2 attacks, and another citizen soldier, this one a henchman. 2 archers that are henchmen, and I think one of them is ballistic skill 5, and another archer that's a hero. This is the table. We're playing gold hunt. So we have 4 markers with gold spread out. We have 1 in this building, 1 up in the Wizard's Tower, 1 behind this building on the ground, and 1 up in the church bell tower. Here we can see it from another angle. I got the deployment zone in the middle, so a 6-inch bubble, and the dwarves ended up to the right. He had the whole backfield and a little bit more, and the elves to the left. This is my deployment. The crossbowman up in the top. I get to deploy high up because I'm in the middle, and a dog and a flagland here. We'll see later that the captain and the prelate are behind this wall. Here we have the Veil Serpent, and here we have the rest of the warband with 2 flaglands, No and the Maiden. Here we can see them again, and here we can see the treasure marker. So I wanted these guys to secure this little treasure. And here we have the captain and the prelate. The dwarves, single file on their way to the church, or double file I guess. And the elves, this is one of the corners. They spread out. These guys are in the middle, and these guys are in the other corner, pretty much. And Pirate Pete scouted up in this building. He didn't actually become that relevant, but I can mention what he did later in the game. The elves got the first turn, and I got last. And these guys marched up into this building to grab the objective. These guys moved up into this building, also to grab an objective. And these guys moved up here to take firing positions against my crossbowmen and a few other models of mine, but it didn't do anything this turn. The dwarves moved into the building, into the church, as you can see. And in my turn, I didn't take any pictures of my turn, but I moved my my captain. She climbed up into the building, and where Ullr was located, and I fired back at these archers. hit with one bolt, but I didn't wound. The Veil Serpent failed its march test and moved to the other side of this green building, out of sight, but next turn he can move up and start to scare them. That's about it. These guys moved up here and fired back at my archer, or my crossbowman, and killed him. He's gone. That's unfortunate, and here we can see Gilia has moved up into the building. These guys moved to the objective. The pigs stormed through the church and emerged out of the bell tower at the bottom of it. And here you can see I've shuffled around a bit with No and the Maiden. And the rest of the dwarves are coming after. And I countercharged with a Flagellant, No, and the dog. And maybe should have just slicked away, focused on the elves for now. But I wanted to try and get a kill with No. That felt important. I wondered if I should have charged with my Veil Serpent too. He could see this combat, but I opted not to, partly because I've already harassed the dwarf player quite a bit with my Veil Serpent in other games, and I really wanted to punish the elf shooting with him. Though it might have been a bad call, because at the moment the elf shooting didn't have anything to shoot at. So by going after them, I just gave them a target, something to do. So maybe that was a mistake. In the combat though, the elf, not the elf, the Flagellant killed his boar, and Snow White knocked down my wolf, and No had a buff, Blessing of Volund, on him, so he could reroll to wound, but still didn't do anything. He hit one attack, but didn't wound on 4 upward reroll. And instead of charging, I moved my Veil Serpent over here, on top of the archers, ready to charge down. And I moved the dog up on the bridge here, Ullr and Gilia and the Flagellant falling behind. And in the elf's turn, he charged both Elder Soldiers in. I did fire my pistol before that on one of the Elder Soldiers, the guy on the right, but I hit, but I didn't wound. So my plan here was to let him charge my dog, kill it, and then I could countercharge him. But that came with a risk, and we'll see what happened. He failed his march test with the captain, funnily enough. So he couldn't reach the objective this turn, so he elected to stay put. And he cast Awaken the Beast on the hireling, bringing him up to strength 5 with his strong weapons. But all of that shooting still didn't do anything to the Veil Serpent. I had Kaleidoscopic Flash on him, so hard target, but still. And in the combat, the worst happened. I guess it could have been a little bit worse, but he didn't kill my dog. He only wounded it once and did 2 health point damage, which meant I had stuck around. The best would have been if he had done 3 damage, knocked it down, and it fell down the bridge and survived. But if he had just been killed, I would have been fine with that. But now it means I can't counter-charge him in my turn, and he will probably kill me in my turn, and then he can charge me instead. I elected to stick around and fired my pistol at this guy back here, and didn't do anything. I have 2 pistols, so I could do that. And in this combat, I managed to knock down this boar and eventually kill it. So this is looking good. The flagnet charged Snow White and stunned it. And I charged the Veiled Serpent into, I think it was this guy with the sword, and didn't do anything with my 3 attacks, and he counter-charged with all of his guys. And here we can see he killed my dog, Ullr. So now I have 2 dead, the crossbowman and the dog. And in his turn, he brought my Veiled Serpent down to 1 health point remaining, and I managed to do some damage to this henchman. Not ideal. I think this... yeah, that was fairly quick. But I had 6 attacks total in this combat, and I did, well, very little. In this combat, he charged 1 Elder Soldier into the flaglet and knocked him down, and he fell off the bridge. And 1 Elder Soldier and the guy with the objective, he abandoned the objective. The hero citizen soldier into Gilia and stunned her, but it didn't fall down. In this combat, he charged in some dwarves, and he managed to knock down No, did 2 wounds to my flaglet, I did 2 back, which was pretty funny. So none of us were knocked down or anything. So yeah, that's a bit of a stalemate. And then in my turn it continued, and turned to my favor. He failed to wound me, and No got to knock down this dwarf instead, and the flaglet stunned this dwarf. So looking better for me, but the ogre is coming up, but at the moment he's blocked, he can't charge. And in this combat I did manage to cast Flash Resolve on Gilia. I rolled 11 on casting, which was good because the elf of course can dispel, unlike all other warbands pretty much, but he failed that. He needed to roll 12 to dispel it, so that was very fortunate. And I made the math. He had 3 attacks to attack her with, and it's about 50-50 that he kills me when I have a 4-up dodge save. But he did, and she died. Would have been awesome if she managed to get out of that, but yeah, didn't go my way. And he also killed the Veiled Serpent in this combat. So 2 models lost there, and then finally in this combat he did manage to kill No with this dwarf here, so I lost him too. Yeah, it was a shame really, but the elves he continued into this building and then charged into this dwarf who was dazed at the time and took him out, and then the dwarf selected to rout. Yeah, so this deal with the bridge here, let's go back to it. I had a bit of bad luck really. I was 1 model away from being able to rout when I had 2 models in combat with 1 health point remaining. So that was a shame. And then 50-50 chance of her surviving that combat, thanks to the spell. But what I'm really kicking myself about is this turn, when the dog didn't die in his turn, and in my turn I couldn't countercharge. What I should have done, and I didn't do it because I didn't remember that I had a scale share surface with Gilia. I should have ran back, climb up this wall, and stand on this ledge. Only way to get there is by climbing, and then I could just stood there firing down at these guys, firing my pistols, which would have been a big improvement. I would have had to pass a march test, but if I had failed that, I could just stand still and do what I did. But that's really the big mistake I made, I feel. Maybe should have been more aggressive against the boars with the Veil Serpent, and maybe I should have just ignored the boars and focus on the elves. But yeah, where's the fun in that? But this one I'm really kicking myself about. And the main reason for that is because of the post-game sequence, which turned out to be a pain for me. The Veil Serpent died flat out, which is annoying, although I wasn't that fond of the Veil Serpent, so yeah, I was planning on sacking him pretty soon anyway, get another Hireling someday perhaps, but yeah, he died, whatever. No died, the swordsman, which was a shame. He was the only one who got a kill in this game, so I lost that experience point. The crossbowman survived, and the dog survived, so that was good. But then the Gilia, she survived, but she suffered an injury. She broke her leg, which meant she suffered -4 march rate. So she's at 4-4 instead. And I mean, normally on most models that's bad, like pretty bad, but you can still manage. And if you're, you can maybe spec to be a shooter or a tank or something like that. But she's spec'd to be a mobile shooter who can march and shoot and climb during marching, and if she can't march, those two skills are wasted. And yeah, that really sucked. So I actually decided to kick her out of the warband and hire a new Inquisitor. So there's that. And my warband rating just plummeted. But I got a new Inquisitor and a new Order Initiate, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. The only thing that advanced for me this game was the Flagellant grabbed the objective with the buckler, and he gained armor penetration, which is nice. So I can't complain too much about that. But yeah, it was a tough game for me. I'm interested to see what will happen in the next one. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.